Shalom. Kahala Yahweh Bahashim Yahushua Bahashim Kakodash. Double honor to the elder apostles and elder bishops of GMS, including the elders that came before them, that taught us this truth. And shalom and salutations to all the brothers out pushing the word of truth and in sincerity, the hopeful elect tabernacle of David. The brother Yahshua, I'm back with the WW3 Daily update. Shalom and salutations to you as well. All right, so going to let the voice of reason deliver the update today. So we're going to start it out by showing you all three world wars in the scriptures. All right, Revelation 8 and 13. And I beheld and heard an angel flying through the midst of heaven, saying with a loud voice, Woe, woe, woe. And woe means destruction. And there's three of them. World War I, 2, and 3. To the inhabitants of the earth by reason of the other voices of the trumpet of the three angels, which are yet to sound. This was before all three of them. Okay? Go to Revelation 9 from 1 until 11 describes World War I. Okay? Whether you can see it in the spirit or not. And then 12, Revelation 9 and 12 says, one woe, the first world war, is past. There it is. Okay? And behold, there come two woes more hereafter. So we're dealing with the world wars. The third, of which the third will be the last. Okay? World War I is past, right? Behold, there come two woes more hereafter. Okay, now we jump up to 11. Now World War II is past. 11 and 14. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. So we can't get to a part where it says World War III is over. All right, because that's going to be the end of Esau's world. The end of World War III is going to be the end of Esau's world. But the point is that they're showing you all three world wars, of which 3 will be the last. Is it here yet? No. It's coming quickly. Right? We can't find in the scriptures where it says the third woe is over. All right. The third woe coming to an end is going to run concurrent with the war in heaven. Okay? They're actually going to stop fighting each other, so there will be no victor in World War III because they're going to stop fighting each other and join together, right, to fight against Yahushua and the angels, all right, which is the point. All right, so anyway, this is Military and Foreign Affairs Network. 23 hours ago, Battlefield Ukraine, the Russian war machine. So we're going to let the voice of reason deliver the update for today. And he's given his perspective on it, and there's nothing wrong with that. So take it away, voice.
Good day, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Military and Foreign Affairs Network. I am your host, the voice of reason. Today we are continuing our ongoing coverage of the Russian-Ukrainian war, and we're continuing with what you could call part 2 of our look at Russian warfighting capability, meaning the ability of the Russians to continue to manufacture weapons equipment and expand its ever-growing arsenal to continue to fight the Ukrainians. Now, first, I think it's important to look at history. I think it's important to look at what the mainstream media is saying now in retrospect to what the mainstream media has said in the past in regards to war within the historical context. So, if we go back all the way to World War II, and I think this is very, very important to look at, and I want to go back to the 22nd of June, 1941. And
listen, if you're a trader,
Slovakia. And he's going to go into history repeating itself, right? Right. What has happened before will happen again, paraphrasing. All right, so let's get there.
And going from 1941, June 22, to roughly the middle part of July, towards the end of July, the Allies, the United States, the United Kingdom, Britain, firmly believed during this period of time that the Russians were going to be defeated by the Germans, especially with what happened during this time span, the period of June 22 to the middle of July 41. There was a battle. There was an encirclement, and this took place near what is known as now in Belarus, near the capital of what is now Belarus, Minsk. And we had a great encirclement of the Soviet forces by the German army that caused devastating losses. And this is just one in a number of encirclement campaigns by the German army that almost defeated the Soviet Union. And in this battle, and again, we have to look at history, we have to look at what's happening now and what is being said now. But after this battle, in which more than 420,000 Soviets were killed, wounded, or taken prisoner, with an additional nearly 5,000 tanks destroyed, 9,000 guns and artillery pieces, and just under 2,000 aircraft destroyed by the German army in this Minsk encirclement. A massive chunk of the Soviet army was utterly obliterated. And right after this happened, again, many quote-unquote analysts, many generals, top-ranking generals here in the United States and allied nations, adamantly believed that the Soviet Union was getting ready to collapse. Now, that didn't happen. We all know what followed in the years to come. Fast forward to the Syrian Civil War. I don't know if you guys can recall what was being said during the Obama administration about the Assad regime, about the fact that it was absolutely going to collapse. It was just a matter of time. Assad is still in power. Assad is not going anywhere. The mainstream view was incorrect. In 1941, after that devastating defeat by the hands of the German Wehrmacht, something else happened. The Germans did not win. The Russians, aka the Soviets, were the leading factor in the demise of Nazi Germany. Fact. Now, as we look at what's happening now in Ukraine, obviously there is a narrative, especially in the Western press. And that narrative right now seems to be portraying that the Russians are going to lose this conflict. Now, it's possible. The Russians could lose this conflict.
That goes into wars and rumors of war, by the way. Just thought I'd throw that in there.
But point being,
I've been getting paid $1,000.
Slovakia. But we had that segment yesterday, so I won't go through it again. Continue.
the mainstream media and what people believe right now has and can change. And that kind of is a good segue into what we're looking at now, and that's the Russian capability to conduct war.
Now, real quick, let me toss in there. Guess what? Guess who's going to win World War III? Well, what does the scripture say? All right. If the Most High is stirring up the Medes, okay, against them, against who? Against the Babylonians. Really, this war is Russia against the United Snakes. All right. And if God is on the side of the Russians, who's going to win? Right? Just in the war, he's not on the side of the Russians verbatim, but that's who he wants to win, clearly. And the scripture says that they will win. As far as winning, right? The objective is the fall of Babylon the Great, not the fall of the Medes. You understand? The fall of Babylon the Great. Who is that? So who is going to lose? All right, continue.
And yesterday, we had a look at the Russian, the largest tank production facility on the planet. And we understand right now that facility is churning out main battle tanks to be used in the ongoing conflict and possibly an expanded conflict in the weeks and months and years to come. But today we're going to look at a city 1,000 miles to the east of Moscow, more than 1,200 miles from the Ukrainian border. And we're going to look at the BMP. It's an armored infantry fighting vehicle manufacturing facility. Again, just a massive facility.
I think that we'll end on this. I'm going to let him finish describing this place where they're making weapons. Okay, a BMP, a little personnel carrier, I believe. We'll go ahead and end it on this. Let him finish.
You look here. This is where the BMP-1, the BMP-2, the BMP-3, the BMD-4 are produced. And we're now seeing the Russians refurbish quite a few numbers of BMP-1s. They're taking the older BMP-1s. They're popping the top. They're putting a 30 millimeter turret on the top of that system, updating the anti-tank guided weapon system on it, and the same with the BMP-2 as well. And we'll probably see an uptick in the production of the BMP-3. I believe that it's probably very, very much prudent for the Russians to start production of the newest generation, such as the Krugenets 25, very capable system, much better crew protection, much more comfortable for the crew to exist. I don't know if anyone's ever had the opportunity to get inside of say a BMP-2. I have. Not a comfortable environment. The Bradley is just I feel a much better vehicle, obviously, both in terms of technology, capability, and comfort for the crew as well.
Okay, so he's going into the tank war that's coming up. The ground is freezing, right? Finally, and Russia, the Medes, are going to launch their offensive as soon as it gets frozen. What offensive? The tank offensive, and that's what he's talking about right here. Okay, what are they doing? They've mobilized the country to do what? To prepare for war. How do you do that? You do this. And we'll end on this right here. Let's go to Joel. And these are the prophecies jumping off the page. Okay? We'll read this and we'll be done. Joel 3 and 10. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. What does it mean to beat your plowshare? Plowshare is a gardening tool. A pruning hook is a gardening tool. A sword is an instrument of war. A spear is an instrument of war. Basically, it's saying make all the tanks you can for the tank war, the tank phase, before we get into micro nukes, right? And they're making nukes. They're getting their war weapons ready, right? All right, so with that, we hope that the elector edified. We'll see you tomorrow. You brothers and few sisters with that, shalom.